Hello everyone, how you all doing? Welcome to Astropods. On the podcast today, I'll be talking to you guys about President Trump's impeachment trial proceedings. Yes, the Senate have voted to proceed with the trial of President Trump. You may say, "Whoa, but it's not more the president is now out of office. Why are they still wanted to impeach him? Like he's no longer in office. Does it have any relevance?" Yes, I share the same sentiment, but yes, it does have relevance. Guys, you know, this Trump was just a one-time president and he has 4 years. So if Trump was impeached, it basically says that he will not be able to hold any political office again. And that is basically shutting the door that President Trump will never be able to come back and run as a president or even for any political office at all. So that's the reason that the impeachment is such a big deal. Now, let's look at it from different angles now, because it's important for us to figure things out from different angles. If you ask me that, Hassan, do you think the president deserves to be impeached the second time, even though he's not more in office? I would say yes and no. Yes, that's what I'll tell you. But this is not about my opinion, because I will give my opinion at the tail end of this podcast. I just want to give you guys some facts that we have to work with right now. Now, there's a congressman from Maryland. His name is Congressman Raskin. He heads the prosecuting team. Basically, they call them the case managers, and he was a law professor, so he knows his stuff. And he made some really emotional case. By the way, guys, the Trump Defense Council was reported that they didn't do a good job in terms of defending former President Donald Trump. But we'll get to that later, because I think they did a fair enough job, because these are lawyers, they know what they're talking about. But hey, I am not a lawyer, so maybe they did poorly indeed. Now, this case has not a lot, but the significance of it is, like I just mentioned, is the fact that if convicted, President Donald Trump would not be able to be in any political office ever again. And what do they need for conviction? That's a nice question that you want to ask me. I know, I can read your mind. So all the senators need is just about 17 Republicans to join the Democrat senators to vote, right? So to convict, right, Mr. Trump, right, the Senate would need a 2/3 majority to be in an agreement, okay? And this means that at least 17 Republican senators would have to vote with Senate Democrats to convict. They need just 17 people. And I will tell you the implications of that soon. Now, if that is the case, right, they need 17 people. So what have they gotten now? They've gotten around maybe 5 or 6 people to join them. So they are like far, far away. And already someone like Ted Cruz is already saying that this is not going nowhere. Like this case is going nowhere, because they will not get a 17 votes. And if they got it, so this is what happened if they got those votes. It's right here. If the Senate convicts Mr. Trump, finding him guilty of inciting violence against the government of the United States, senators could then vote on whether to bar him from holding future office. The vote would only require a simple majority, and if it came down to party lines, Democrats would prevail, with Vice President Kamala Harris casting the tie-breaking votes. Simple. So if they dare give this vote, that 17 votes, they've sealed it. Now, so right now, my listeners who are Democrats will be like, yeah, Trump should be impeached. He should never be in office again. Rightfully so. And my listeners who are Republicans will be like, no, he hasn't. I mean, he didn't do anything. He did not tell them to go and kill nobody. It should not be done like that. Like, he's a former president. It's a battle for our nation and all that. See, let us make something very unequivocal. What President Trump did on January 6th was super uncalled for, was very ill-advised, and as a president, as a sitting president at the time, he should never be caught doing that, even in his dreams. How much more addressing a crowd to storm a government house. Let's think about it like this, as Mr. Raskin said in one of his remarks, okay? He was saying something along the lines of, if we allow this thing to happen and go scot-free, right, that we are setting a very bad precedent for this nation, because we are saying that any president at any time in history that is on his way out can just incite violence and do all sort of things, and nothing happens to him because he's on his way out. So, and that is the argument right there. Do you want to say because he was a former president, he's no more in office, and it's not a good look for our nation, should we just allow him do whatever he wants to do and go unpunished? You know, I think there should be consequence for everything you do. And now the question is, now, what kind of punishment do you want to give a former president that was there for a single term? That's the question. And how do you legitimize this punishment? That's another question. Now, if they vote to convict, easily the Democrats will make sure that he never runs for office again, because that's what they will finally come down to. Guys, remember that because of this 6th of January incident, at least 5 people were dead. One of them was a police officer for the Capitol. I think 2 others died of suicide later due to shocks and all that happened afterwards. It was a very traumatic experience. Although some people like Ocasio-Cortez sort of blow it out of proportion, but at the same time, when you have thousands of people storming your office, it's very scary, and you know that they don't mean well for you. You're like, for real, they could kill you if they saw you. You know what I'm saying? So let us not poo-poo what she felt, but maybe she overstretched it. I don't know. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is this: the conservative faction of the Republican lawmakers, they are in a very tight corner right now, because former President Donald Trump is the most influential person in the party. And just for instance, like, you know, before that time, they had people like people that voted for this thing to happen, for this trial to happen. We had people like Mitt Romney, Ben Sasse, Patrick J. Toomey, and Lisa Murkowski, okay, and Susan Collins, okay. All of these people were pushing that they're all Republicans. They pushed that they should go ahead and do the trial. And Mr. Cassidy of Louisiana, I think, voted to join these people yesterday that they should go ahead with the proceedings. And his base immediately were mad at him, like, what? That means that even his base, Senator Cassidy's base, they don't want nothing to do with it. They want Trump to be exonerated, plain and simple. Even at the expense of human beings that have died. Even though what he said, he might feel that way. A lot of us feels that way, that election was rigged. But if there's no proof, it's either you pull up or you shut up. If there's no proof, you cannot say that the American people are wrong, because they voted Biden. They have many reasons why they wanted to vote Biden. You know what I'm saying? So until you're able to have a concrete proof that is beyond any reasonable doubt that this thing was rigged, you should not be inciting violence or be dismissing an election. Albeit the people that did the election, the organizers of the election, they said that yes, there might be some fraud or whatever, but it was not widespread fraud. So now there's a question of how do we define what widespread fraud is that is not big enough to subvert the outcome of the election. We do not know that, but this is not a case of whether the election was rigged or not, because that is done and sealed. Like, forget about it. It's President Biden's turn, and he's doing a decent job so far. The point here is this: you should not be doing that as a sitting president at the time. And if he's let go, if he goes scot-free and he can run for office again in 2024, that is somewhat like it's empowering a person that was a bully of some sort, right? Because now, And the senators, the lawmakers that are Republicans, they understand the power that Trump wields over that party. A lot of people that are now conservatives, they are in that party because they support Trump. And if Trump does not support you, however, Twitter have sort of silenced Trump, so Trump will have to find another way to be out there. But Twitter have silenced him, and they said it's forever. We don't know what that means. But this is the thing: if Trump is not on your side, it could be a political suicide, a political disaster for you, because Trump is the most popular, the most influential Republican in this country right now, probably in this nation's history. He is so powerful within that party. So if they vote that, while a lot of them believe that Trump has a lot to do with that insurrection that happened on the 6th of January, at the same time, they are also considering that if we do let this thing happen and go scot-free, it's setting a very wrong, impression, because now it's like anybody can do whatever they want to do because we want to cling to power. So that's what Congressman Jimmy Raskin, was saying to his fellow lawmakers in the House. Now, Trump's defense attorney, Bruce Castor, right? He made something that's very powerful. He said that there is no opportunity where the president of the United States can run rampant in January at the end of his term and just go away scot-free. That's what they say. He said that the Department of Justice does know what to do with such people. Listen, and I feel that's just a stupid excuse, because this is not about the Department of Justice. They are not going to do nothing. When president, it's not a thing that they come and arrest you. You know what I'm saying? You need a congressional kind of push for that kind of stuff to happen. So a lot of cases that we are making, like, it has never happened before, but it has happened before that we have actually convicted ex office holders, but that was many years ago in the 1700s and 1800s. But the point is that we should not forget, like Mr. What's his name? Mr. Schoen, I think is the man's name, said, yeah, is this Schoen? Yeah, Schoen. He said that we should not forget the fact that a lot of what these people are doing, all right, is all in an attempt to not allow President Trump to run for office again. And yes, is it not worth it? That's the question. Is it not worth it that a man, personally, if you guys listen to my podcast, you know that I love President Trump because I think he has done well for this nation. But what he did on the 6th of January, there's no place for that in this nation. You cannot incite people. You cannot tell them that you love them. You cannot, it's not right. So for that simple reason, he should not be allowed to be in office again. Now, this is where I would like to end everything, because there's so many quotes here. I've already read this thing. So I'm just going off of what I know. Now, there's an argument that they sort of anchored everything on. I'm talking about President Trump's defense attorneys, right? They made the case that the word that's used that says fight, the word fight, that he used that word figuratively and it was not a literal expression, and that the impeachment is illogical because President Trump was no longer the president of this nation. Those are the two arguments that there are two core arguments, that this whole proceedings is not making any sense because he's no longer the president. You cannot impeach him because he's not in office. And the one that says let us fight for this nation is like, fighting is not like saying that we should go and start carrying placards and swords and guns and all that. We just have to just stay and stay firm and stay solid. Those two arguments, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, are false. Completely wrong. Because he said that they should march to that place. They should go and encourage their people that are going to talk that the election was rigged, and they should boo or not show support to those who are against the people that support him. We are talking to thousands of people. Like, this is like more than 10 or 20 or 50,000 people. It's not gonna be a peaceful "we don't like you" protest. There's nothing. See, when they say protests usually do not go peacefully. So the one that happened with Martin Luther King was an anomaly. Protest is not supposed to, because people are not happy with a particular result. That's why they're protesting. So that is you inciting violence right there, President Donald Trump. And you too smart to know that was an inciting sort of rhetoric. So this is where I want to handcuff. This is where I want to base everything I'm saying. Congressman Raskin has spoken. Senator Cassidy has joined the people that say that they should proceed with the impeachment trial. They are most likely not going to get the 17 vote that they need from Republicans. It's not going to happen. Even though someone like Mitch McConnell was talking from both sides of his mouth, saying that they will serve as impartial jurors and are more open to conviction, even if they voted to dismiss the case on constitutional grounds. Okay, but those two positions are what are difficult to reconcile. Like, you're talking from both sides of your mouth. You said that you'll be impartial, but you voted to dismiss the case. What are you talking about? It's not making sense. But this is the whole thing. I know for a fact that the impeachment thing is not going to happen. They're not going to. They won't get that 17 vote that they dearly need from the Senate Republicans. And I know, I'm so sorry for Congressman Raskin, Jimmy Raskin, when he said that his son just died lost his life to suicide. It was a suicide death of his son Tommy. His suicidal stuff is very bad. That must be probably was really depressed. I don't know what happened, so I feel sorry for him, and my condolence goes to the family of Congressman Jimmy Raskin for the death of their son Tommy. And that he said a lot of things. I don't want to start going into those things, and there was a lot of emotional appeal that we cannot let this thing happen. This thing should not fly in this nation. But I want to say this thing though. Do you guys remember the case of Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky, when he lied on that oath that he never had sex with that lady, and he had tons of sex with this lady, like multiple times, countless number of times, and he was impeached, but then they later brought him back and he served 2 times and all those things. That is what we're talking about. At the end of the day, politicians will always vote along party lines, and forget whatever anybody says. The Republicans will not do such a thing to Donald Trump. Not because they love Donald Trump per se, absolutely not, because they are willing to just get over this Donald Trump face of their political party, history. But because it is not politically smart for them to do that right now, going by the fact that this man is politically more recognized than any other person in their party history. That's the fact. Okay? On that note, they will not do such a thing. Not because they love Trump, but because it's not politically smart for them to do. Now, here is what they should do. The politicians, the conservative people, they must ensure, already Twitter has helped them to sort of silence Trump. They must ensure that Trump himself does not hold any political office again throughout his life. Because if Trump comes back and they're supporting Trump, now what is the punishment for such an act of evil? We've lost so many people due to that stupid decision to go and cause chaos in the Capitol. That is unacceptable. So Trump should not be allowed within that party itself to hold any political office again, to even run for any office again. That should not happen. That should be the behind closed door kind of agreement that Mr. Trump, if you want this thing to not, go ugly for us and for you, you have to be silent from this moment on. Like, you cannot hold any office again. You can support people, but you cannot be out there running campaigns that you want to hold a political office like a president again. It's not going to happen. That's the way they can deal with this issue, in my opinion. But the fact that they want to try to convict Trump and all those things, I don't think it's the smartest thing to do. And that's the end of my podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I really encourage you guys to go read the report from New York Times, from Washington Post, and also from Wall Street Journal, and other news outlets that really that do quality reporting. And I've told you guys before, my cleaning business, I'm starting it soon. It's something that I look forward to. I'm excited about it. I'm trying to get this thing up and running. And when it's ready, I'll put it on this platform as well, so that you guys can, refer us and contact me if you guys need your office areas to be cleaned up. And that's the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I remain Hassan Raju. Please keep wearing your mask, stay safe, and be blessed. Bye for now.